Okay, hopefully this gets done before our phone dies. Because it's about to happen. Okay, people can change. Yeah. BS bullshit. Okay, yeah. People can't change is probably what it's gonna called. Okay. It's easy, like, to think, like, with love isn't real. Oh. Love is a lie, love isn't real. I kind of thought it was both. Yeah. I usually thought to myself, love isn't real. But originally started out as, like, love's a lie. Yeah. It's, like, just in fairy tales and just a fantasy, you know? Especially since they're like, oh, you'll get rescued and crap like that, you know? Prince Charming and shit. Being like, oh, you had a horrible life before, and someone will come and save you from it. And someone will help you, and you'll find love, and oh, your life will turn better because you went through something hard. It's all BS fairy tales. Okay, okay, that's a different problem. Okay, people can change, and it's nice, and you want to think people can change because they don't want to, and they don't. They just refuse to. They make an active choice all the time to not change. They just do not change. The whole, like, second chance thing, I was like, I think it's BS. I was like, you can give them second chances and crap, and, like, it's just who they are. Like, yeah, obviously, being racist, transphobic, and homophobic, like, oh, but that's not the real me, it's not who I am. Yeah, it's a lot of your likes and dislikes, but it's not your favorite color, it's not your favorite football team, it's not what you want to eat, it's not all the details, it's not your name, it's not that crap, but I don't want to learn any about that crap. Like, if you're a bigot, you're a bigot. Yeah, you could change and you could not be a bigot. Obviously, you could be like, oh, I'm going to be nice to people. I'm going to be a-hole. I'm not going to say these things. I'm not going to attack people. I'm going to think before I speak. I'm going to pick my opinions to myself. I'm not going to be an asshole. I'm not going to attack people who are just living throughout the day doing their own crap. I ain't gonna harass people. I ain't gonna mess with people. I'm not gonna promote hate speech or talk bad about them and promote and spread lies. But they choose over and over again not to. And they're like, oh, but they don't know any better. They don't know. Or they're from an older generation. They're from a different time. No, they can learn. And most of the time they do learn. And they just refuse to change. They don't want to learn, and they do not want to change, and they will not change. And they actively choose this over and over again, and they will not change. No matter what you wish to, especially since a lot of situations, there are, like, a lot of naive people, and a lot of things, like, with LGBT people, they have this belief of be like, oh, just give them time. They'll come around. That almost never happens. Almost never. You see it in TV and crap, yet that never actually happens in real life. In real life, that doesn't happen. It's nada. It's a no. Okay, so one of the ways my mother did change was, there's a whole lot less yelling. She almost never yells now. That is it. It was a major improvement. Because that was all she did. She only screamed. It was a really, really long process. It took many years. It took over a year. And of course she sometimes still slips up, and she just got better and better. And she stopped yelling. She very, very rarely yells. And obviously they stop hitting you because you move away, and before that you grew too big so you could fight back. And also you had shut down and didn't work anymore for the most part. And they tried different means, and you could report them now. And also, you just shut down. You shut down. All the time. You don't say, you don't do anything. You're dead. Everything about you is hidden. Everything you believe, your opinions, your lives, your birthday, your favorite color, all of that is hidden inside because I never gave a damn about it in the first place. I never asked. I never wanted to know. So they're literally like, oh, I cut them out of my life. I was like, they never gave a damn about me in the first place. So, and I cut them out of my life forever ago, but I still have to live with them. So nothing changed. I just tried to feel less hurt. Try to minimize the hurt I was getting. And then you also have to shut down because you try all the other methods. You run away, you hide, you fight back, you talk back. All met with the same response. So, since it's going to happen anyway, let's just cut the chase and get it done over with. And then maybe you can do something else in the day and not spend the entire day getting spanked. Or it just happens a few less times. So it's just less frequent. And it's just not a long process. You don't fight the process, so it just doesn't take as long. You might not get punished less, but it just takes less time. So maybe you'll be able to read a book or hide in your room for a little bit. Yeah. Okay, but for the most part, that was it. Yeah, no. My mother does not call me by a dead name. After many conversations with my sister, she's finally okay with using it, but she's always like, I still think of you as a girl. The entire thing. And the only reason she accepted it, she's like, Max is a girl's name. So just so you know. I only accept and only calling you not your dead name because Max is also a girl's name. Yep. Apparently it is. At least in my mom's eyes. I don't give a shit about that. I was like, at least I just don't gotta hear it anymore. Yeah. But all of her beliefs, all of that never changed. It's never going to. We're never going to get along. I'm going to always have to hide everything from her. I can never talk about religion. I can never talk about... I have to always keep my opinion to myself. I can never talk about, share opinion, talk about religion, probably even race, probably. Yeah. Can't talk about relationships. Don't even have them anyway. Or lack of relationships, sexuality, gender, anything LGBT, none of the movies or shows I like, unless they're edited, because we only watch them and read them because they're LGBT, but we gotta fix that when we talk to mom about our favorite shows. Unless we watched a random one that was straight. That's very, 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 very rare. We can never talk about any of our interests, any of our likes, any of our favorite songs. We can't listen to it. We can't curse. We can't do anything. We can complain about work. And that's basically the only conversations we have. Really random. And very rare occasions. A little bit about a show I'm watching or a book I'm reading, with excluding and editing the genders and the goddamn weather. You know? There's really nothing. It's all just small talk. There's really nothing there. I can't talk about my friends, nothing. There's nothing to talk about. Can't talk about the past, the future, the present. I tried to tell my mother, and I explained to my mother. I actually sat down a while after I made that video about, I was like, oh, I shouldn't blame my mother for everything. I sat down and talked to her, and I was like, Dad was probably a narcissist, because he didn't, obviously started out with being like, hey, I'm sorry, we probably blamed you for a lot of things, but it's mostly because you didn't allow us to blame Dad for anything. and you took all the problems and faults onto your own, and yourself, you're like, yeah, no, that was my fault. Not the case. You were not all to blame. It was also Dad. You were most of the time, you were just sitting behind him and nodding your head and agreeing to everything he said. And it wasn't always your fault, and you weren't all to blame, but you never let us blame Dad or say that he had any faults. Because apparently he was a god. Yeah. And they're always like, it's respect. Respect is fear, apparently. That is what we learned, and that is also in the Bible. Because they're like, oh, respect God, and when you don't, he decides to flood and crap and send and decides to make it drought and send hail of cockroaches and everything in Moses about the plagues, all of that crap when he's not happy, when you don't do what he wants. You know what? I have this idea, and I'm gonna say it on here because I don't give a shit. And it popped in my head, and I was angry, and I don't care. Obviously, the whole religion of my parents are total liars, and everything's a hypocrite. And like even in the Bible, and the Bible's saying it was like it's all hypocritical, because you love me, but you send me to hell. And then also like, and then with me, and then like, oh, respect me, and when I don't, I kill you. In reality, your people just fear you. They do not love you, and they do not respect for you. They do not care you. They do not be like, hey, I like you with this person, and we get along well. You have boundaries, and I care about you. So, I'm going to respect what you're saying. I'm going to listen to what you say, and I'm going to help out. And I'm going to space, and I'm going to back off when you need me to. And I'm going to pay attention. And I'll do what you ask. Because I care about you and I respect you. But instead it's no like, oh, if I don't do it, I'll be getting the shit out of. So I'm gonna do what you tell me to. I don't want to, and I would never willing to do any of this. But I'm gonna do it. And then even if you do it, you're obviously gonna get hit. No matter what you do, you will be punished. It does not matter. You do nothing, punish. You look, you breathe, you are silent, punish. You speak, punished. You fight back, punished. Run away, punished. Hide, punished. Try your best to succeed in task, punished. Not at fault, blamed for other crap, punished. No one cares. Were not told the task, or it wasn't explained and you didn't understand the task, punished. Was not told to do something but was expected to do it anyway, punished. Nothing is explained, nothing is rationalized, everything is screamed. You cannot hear the instructions because they are screamed at you, and all you can process is that someone is yelling. And those words are not usually audible because they are so loud and so high that the words are not being able to actually be processed and be in a pitch you can hear. But that's just normal. It's just normal. It's okay. It's just normal. Now, yeah, you will always be punished. It's fine. Nothing matters. Having an opinion is a punishment. Not wanting to hear what your parents say and not caring about the subject is always punished. Yep. Because I always said, I don't care. Because my parents would tell them, my mom liked to ramble on about random people, random strangers, and random friends, or random people she talked to at church, or random people she said were family members, but probably weren't, just family friends or something. Random people she knew, but I've never met in my life, and will never meet, and never did meet, and didn't even go to their funerals or anything like that, and never saw these people, ever. And I'm learning random facts about it, and me saying I don't care, I'm always punished. And then also, me having to not care about everything and anything, because we have more emotional problems when we care about things. And we obviously care way too much, and we still care even if we don't care. So, we're effed up anyway. But yeah, people can't change what they refuse to. They are a-holes. We have to move on with our lives. And then being like, oh, people can change, give them second chances. Like, if they're gonna change, then they will change. If you change, then we should be like, good, thank you for changing. But we should also, biggest and important thing, because I saw it all the time. All the goddamn time. Because my my siblings and everybody, they would talk about it, and they'd be like, oh, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Hey, you should do this. Hey, you shouldn't hit people just because you're angry. Yeah, especially that one. My sister said a good thing, because, she'd yell at my mother for hitting her son because, he got in trouble, and so, he did something bad, and instead of timeouts, she hit him across the face. Toddler, 3-year-old, across the face. And she didn't explain anything or anything like that, yeah. And so my sister had to go to her and explain. She's like, hey, no, you're not, this is not discipline, and you're not explaining anything, you're just hitting him because you're angry. Yeah, he did something wrong, but that doesn't mean that you get to hit him. He made you angry, so you don't have, just because you're angry doesn't mean you have to hit people. The things you are supposed to tell your toddler. Then you're an adult. And clearly that has never been applied and never will be. So, she'll apologize or whatever, but it'll happen again. She's probably not across the face next time. Well, hopefully. Anyway, but yeah. So my sisters and stuff, they'd all have like conversations, and they would be confronted. They'd be like, oh yeah, you saw and you knew. And they would straight up lie and deny, or they'd be like, yeah, that happened, or I wasn't aware the entire time. That especially happened when the FBI came over, because they were like, yeah, we have reports that the eldest son, who's probably over 11 years older than my sister, who's 2 years older than me, molested and raped her. And it's not a reoccurrence. This happened to all of my siblings. So how many victims? Okay. The oldest sibling, who she'd been around 3 years younger than him, happened the most often, and it was a reoccurring relationship, and it was the longest relationship. Sexual abuse there. And then we got Mary. So I think it only skipped one person. Yeah. And then I wasn't involved because I was too young at the time. And he had basically been removed. He'd pretty much entered college and everything. He'd basically moved out of the house by the time I was around. Yeah. Okay, so we got Rachel, we got Mary, we got Joy, and we got Abby. So let me try and think and count. Yeah. So 4 out of 6 people that were born female, raped and molested. My oldest brother. Fun, right? Yeah. And then my parents and everything, they talked about it and everything, and they were like, no, you knew this was happening, and you never did anything about it, and you were never going to, and you didn't give a damn about it, and you ignored it the entire time, and we brought it over, and we spoke it out, and you knew about it the entire time, and you could have prevented it, and you never did. And you keep lying to us, and you keep lying around us, and occasionally you'll admit it, and you'll be like, yeah, but you don't care, and you'll make a joke out of it, and you don't give a damn. And then you obviously lied to the officials,